Tonight on ThinkTech, we're going to take a look at two important industry conferences we've had in Honolulu over the past couple of weeks. The first of these conferences dealt with our troubled economy. ThinkTech and the Hawaii Venture Capital Association presented a program called Recovery and Transformation, straight talk on the problems in our economy at the Plaza Club downtown.
The other conference was about clean energy. The State Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, DBED, presented the Asia-Pacific Clean Energy Summit at the Hawaii Convention Center.
All that and much more this week on ThinkTech. Welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Duke Oishi. Yes, we've had two important meetings in Honolulu over the past couple of weeks, both related to tech.
ThinkTech with the Hawaii Venture Capital Association recently presented Recovery and Transformation, straight talk on our troubled economy at the Plaza Club downtown. This was an examination by leaders from all around the state into what is happening under the hood of our economy and what we might be able to do about it to make things better in the future.
More than 200 people showed up, and there were more than 30 blue ribbon speakers. It lasted from the early morning and didn't break until mid-afternoon. There was a wake-up keynote, 4 panels, and a book report.
Dick Cushman, a well-known business and real estate developer in Hawaii, delivered the wake-up keynote.
And I'm going to start with leadership. And I'm going to break leadership down into 4 categories. Let's start with corporate Hawaii leadership. Banks, 4 major banks. And the time frame I'm talking about is going back roughly a year and forward roughly a year. So I got this sort of moving period of time, but it's very short. In that time frame, we are going to have 4 new CEOs in every major bank in the state. 2 of them are not going to be from Hawaii. So if you take the top 10 companies in the state, 4 of which are banks, all 4 banks, new leadership, one time frame. Utilities, of which we have 3. We're going to have a new CEO at the Oceanic Cablevision. We have a new CEO at the electric company. And we have the same CEO at the phone company, but a new owner. So in the utilities, you're going to have 3 non-Hawaii leadership changes all at the same time that the 4 banks are changing. Alexander & Baldwin, a brand new CEO. The James Campbell Company, a brand new CEO. And I'm going to put Kamehameha Schools in 3 different categories, but they deserve, in my view, to be in the business category because they are one of the largest financial institutions in the state. And in the next few months, they're going to elect the 3rd trustee who are not the legacy trustees. So in that boardroom, you're going to have, for the first time, a voting majority that is not the past. That's 10 companies, one tiny period of time, all new leaders. That's just the beginning. Let's talk about education. Let's start at the university level. University of Hawaii, you already have a brand new leader. Hilo, University of Hawaii at Hilo, you have a new leader. Chaminade, you have a new leader. HPU, in June you're going to have a new leader. Leaving aside BYU, you're going to have a complete change of leadership at the collegiate level in the state. Come down to secondary education. Kamehameha Schools into another category as an educator. As the largest private school, again, they're going to have new leadership in their boardroom, and of course, we're going to get a new superintendent of schools. All the education leadership in the state is going to change at the same time. All of the business leadership in the state is changing in this tiny little period of time. The easiest category, and the one that Jay spoke about a few minutes ago, of course, is political. So at the same time this is happening, we're going to lose and change a governor, elected officials, a governor, a lieutenant governor, and by extension thereby a new attorney general. Hopefully there's going to be a new chief justice of the Supreme Court, a new mayor, managing director, and a new U.S. congressperson. This is all happening at the same time. And not to wish ill on anyone or bachi on anyone's life, but if you look out from an actuarial standpoint, just looking statistically, In the next 3 years, unfortunately, we will probably have new U.S. senators, just statistically. Okay? Keep that in mind because it's going to be important to something we're going to talk about in a little bit. So leaving aside those last two, and whatever happens in the presidential election, because there is always the possibility that we will lose our native son as a president, but just leave those three aside. We have extraordinary political transformation to go along with education and business. Fourth and final category, for the want of a better topic heading, I will call the Hawaiian situation. So if you look at the Hawaiian organizations and think about where they're transforming, again, Kamehameha Schools fits in lots of categories here. Kamehameha Schools has new leadership. By process, when we have a new change in the governor, we're going to have a new head of DHHL. And Clyde keeps saying he's going to retire at OHA. I'm not sure whether that will happen, but just assume for a second that Clyde does. So you take three of the biggest organizations in the state with respect to the Hawaiian community, they're going to change ownership, management and at the senior leadership positions concurrently. That's 22 leadership changes in one moving 12-month period, leaving aside what might happen actuarially at the senator level. So roughly, just use simple math, half of the leadership changes that are coming in this one time period are people who are not from here. This is almost statistically impossible to recreate. I mean, the probabilities of having that much change happen in any community in one time frame this small is immeasurable. What's it mean? And what's it mean to these new leaders who are taking over organizations? That's the pregnant question you're going to get a lot more dimension on from your panels today.
We heard from UH faculty members Craig Howes and John Osorio on their new book, The Value of Hawaii, Knowing the Past, Shaping the Future. It's a book of essays by some well-known thought leaders in Hawaii.
I just want to give you a very quick description of the book and then try and tie it a little bit into what we've been talking about this morning. The Value of Hawaii, Knowing the Past, Shaping the Future. It's a book with 29 essays, including essays by Neil Milner, Mari Matsuda, and Tom Kaufman. The book will look familiar to many of you in terms of format as being something like The Price of Paradise from 16 years ago. These essays cover basically all the major topics that have come up this morning in one way or another. Tourism, the economy, agriculture, homelessness, domestic violence, the water, the land, global warming, and so public education, the University of Hawaii, and so on and so forth.
But if you read through the essays that were written by Kanaka Maoli in this book, you will find that there is a group of people who have that will and have been exercising that will now for more than 40 years. And I'm talking about Native Hawaiians who have essentially recovered language, have begun the recovery of land for agriculture, especially for taro growth, who have started to rebuild fish ponds, who have decided among ourselves, right, that there are things that our ancestors knew and that our immediate ancestors knew how to do in order to create a better quality of life and have decided to recover it. And in most cases, we have done this without government support and in fact in the face of government suppression. The notion that we don't have the political will is not true. Some of us do.
The Vision panel came last. It featured a number of senior executives from local companies, and it was moderated by Robbie of Hawaiian Electric Company, that's HECO.
We want to make sure that we give our new leaders the opportunity to show us what the new Hawaii is going to look like. So if I can start with Robin.
We collectively have a very difficult time in moving forward. And we spoke of some of those issues today. Witness the super ferry, our decades-long struggle now to do something about mass transit in Oahu. And we say we value our children, but you know, regardless of that, we let Furlough Fridays happen. I mean, we talk about things that make Hawaii a special place, and yet we've become very used to the status quo. And as we look towards projects such as big wind and undersea cables, geothermal, and possibly nuclear power, as we address the use of agricultural land, running out of landfill space on all our islands, we need to pull together.
If you compare ourselves to Arizona or Nevada or maybe even California right now, I think there are things that we don't quite recognize in ourselves that really represent opportunities for us off into the future. We fundamentally don't have a game plan put together as a community. Big portions of the community don't have an understanding for the great challenges that we face. Growth is going to be a challenge for us. We don't have the same things to fall back on that I think we've had for the past 50 years as we really built ourselves as a state. We have large, I'll say, pension and other obligations into the state system. We have, any of us that drive, and I know all of us drive, have huge infrastructure issues out there that are going to require a lot of money off into the future. And then you start getting into the demographic and some of the income discrepancy or disparity issues out there, and it's pretty fair to say that we've got big obligations there as well. We need to do something to change our situation because our current trajectory is not going to be able to support the obligations that we have out there.
As a business leader, and we're here as business leaders, that we do bear the responsibility for the well-being of Hawaii and also the security and happiness of our people. Some businesses today will say it's not their responsibility. Recovery is going to be slow, and profits will come back faster than jobs. So the mindset that we all need to embrace is one that says, this is the new economy. And as I look at it today, I have to ask myself, what do I need to do to prosper in what is the new normal? And that is what prompts people to action. If you wait for something to save you, you will not act today and be frozen in that sort of state of waiting and wanting.
When you talk about education, there's nobody anti-education. I haven't seen the anti-Keiki coalition emerge yet here in Hawaii. Unfortunately, it's a great topic. It gets people clapping. It's like sustainability and collaboration. Nobody's anti-sustainability. Nobody's anti-collaboration, but what does it really mean? Incredible geographical challenges. We all know the future of the Pacific lies on the island of Hawaii. I just said that because, right? If our kids are going to compete going forward, they need access to the tools and broadband technology. We've got to invest today. If we nickel and dime it, bungee cord, duct tape this, we'll never get to where we want to be. Starting salary of a graduate 4-year program, University of Hawaii at Hilo, $106,000 a year. That's capacity building. That's higher education. We're not competing with Manoa. That's what we got to stop. We all live in one island state. I remember growing up and having a wise uncle tell me, hey boy, good leadership, try watch. That's the guys, they take blame, they give credit. They don't take credit and give blame. And I've always used that as my barometer of leadership, of how to act. Of course, when the media attack you for something, you blame one staffer, Nah, just kidding. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but.
Hawaii is, as we speak today, 10% renewable energy. We already made our goal. Hawaii will make its 2015, 2020, 25, 2030 goals, and we will be 40% renewable generation. This is a question of our economy and our future. Janet used the $7 billion. We put about that much into oil we send offshore. And we could pour most of that back into our economy. There is no reason the state couldn't provide 100% of its electricity and thereby 100% of its vehicles by renewable energy. And it actually isn't more expensive. We're up against petroleum, which makes virtually every form of renewable energy cheaper in the long run. So even for our own sake as an economy, we should switch over and away from oil. And Billy's right. The Big Island is leading the way. And the Big Island will probably in the next few years go to 50%, and a lot of us believe it'll be the first island off oil, and Kauai will be the second. And one day this island will catch up. It will take us a little bit more time. But Hawaii can significantly roll this back, do a great thing for the planet, do a great thing for our own economy and our children, that we can actually show the rest of the world how to live with hugely less amounts of carbon and still live a modern lifestyle. and do a wonder for our economy.
A week later, ThinkTech paid a call to the convention center to visit DBID's Asia Pacific Clean Energy Summit. 1,200 people were registered and appeared. There were lots of panels and more than 100 speakers. It was a great coming together, and it definitely put Hawaii on the map as a gathering place for global energy.
Energy executives, officials, entrepreneurs, and scientists came from the mainland and from Asia to compare notes. There were many exhibitors, and it was a great opportunity for Hawaii to showcase what it's been doing on clean energy. It was also a great chance for people to network and make deals on energy.
You know, I'm with KIUC. I've been on the board for about a year and a half. I started out as a renewable energy advocate in the community. At the end of the day, we didn't really have a firm say in what happened, and so I decided I'd run for the board, and I was able to successfully get elected. It's really a wonderful organization that allows the community to drive the direction of the utilities. So I'm going to go back to Kauai and make the recommendation that the whole board come next year. I think it's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity.
The reason why we're here is to talk about the changes that are happening. What are the solutions that we need to find for the challenges that are ahead of us in this transformation process? Well, we've got a number of biofuel facilities that are in planning and in the permitting process. We've got electric vehicles showing up in the state in significant numbers. We're working with electric vehicle manufacturers for them to be able to take a part of what we're doing here in our state. We just had the announcement this week of decoupling, which is a major step forward of reinventing our utility. We've gotten global participation, and we're on the way to making this the event that showcases what we're doing, and it's a place to be to learn about clean energy in this hemisphere.
I think it's fabulous. I work with Western States Petroleum Association. All of the member companies are very interested in working on renewable fuels and renewable energy.
Well, right now I'm looking forward to the panel that I'm moderating at 11 o'clock on a statutory framework for renewables, Hawaii regulation. We're bringing together Hawaii's top legal minds and Representative Morita from the legislature to talk about the role of statutory mandates in moving this forward.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
So, Kelly, what are you here for? What do you hope to achieve today?
Well, we've been making a lot of connections.
Are you participating in a panel?
I am. I'm going, today at 1:30, I'm going to sit in, explain the biofuel production process.
So there's a rumor that you use Vimeo and ThinkTech Hawaii to prepare for your translation.
Yes, thank you, Jay, for uploading those video on Vimeo. It really helped us to understand the current renewable energy industry in Hawaii, and also it helps a lot of people outside of Hawaii to know what is going on in Hawaii. I think that's great.
Well, we'll put some more. We'll put you on there.
Thank you.
谢谢，再见。
谢谢，Aloha，拜拜。
You get a feeling almost as if something actually is happening.
As Ted Peck mentioned, the revolution is here. It really is here right now. We can't be successful without ample infrastructure. This is an actual working combination level 1, level 2 charging station. It also includes the latest J1772 connector. 20 months ago, we shipped our first network charging station. We shipped into San Jose, California, San Francisco followed, and through 2009, we sold 700 stations. This year, we're on track for 7,000 to 10,000. We expect 25 to 35,000 of these stations to be sold in the next year.
And of course, it was a great opportunity for everyone to see the new electric vehicles. A number of them were rolled out at the summit and across the street at Ala Moana Center.
People have realized that Hawaii is the place to bring electric vehicles. We have the highest rate on a per capita basis of signups for lease, which I think should be an indicator to industry that Hawaii is the place to do electric vehicles.
I don't know how you could not want one of these. And this is a new technology. So you are looking at the newest way to get around. 5 normal people, a normal car. It's quick, it's quiet, it's efficient, and the thing we're the proudest of is along the back here, there is no tailpipe, which means 0 emissions. This is the first mass-produced zero-emission car in global history, and it is going to be here as early as December. There's going to be a car wing system, which is the communication system between a courtesy company and the owner. They can contact you if they think your charge is getting too low. You can call them and ask them questions. The car has multiple default systems to let you know that you need to charge. The GPS system shows you where the chargers are, if they're in use, and when they're going to be available for use. But the beauty is 99% of the time, your gas station, your fuel station is at home in your own garage or carport. We will sell you at the dealership a home charging unit, a 240-volt system. If you come home on a completely empty battery, you will be fully charged in 6 to 8 hours, and a rough average around the country, that is under or well under $3 for 100 plus miles of driving. There's 7,500 federal tax incentive, tax credit. There's also a $4,500 limited Hawaii tax incentive or credit. So there is up to $11,000 for owners here on the island to get off of a price that's already under $33,000. The charger is roughly about a $700 cost. Then you need to have an electrician run a dedicated 220 line. But once that total bill is filled out, it's a federal rebate of half of that cost.
As I mentioned in my ThinkTech column in the Star Advertiser, I agree with the State Energy Administrator, Ted Peck, when he talks about making Hawaii an energy model for the world. We have the resources, so what we need to do is get the world to think of us as a global leader. We want the world to beat a path to our door for our energy expertise and development experience, not just for sand and surf. Energy ideas can be a lucrative export for our state. This summit is perfect for a Hawaii-based global event. And like the Asia-Pacific Economic Council meeting next year, APEC, that's what Hawaii needs. These programs can help us get connected and respected. The chance to network with people in the industry who come from far away is worth its weight in gold. The energy bell is ringing, so let's all support clean energy and programs like the Clean Energy Summit. To the max.
To the max.
We also spoke with some legislators who work on energy on a regular basis. Senator Mike Gabbard told us about some of the challenges we have in developing clean energy in Hawaii.
And we're very pleased to have Senator Mike Gabbard here with us today. The senator is the chair of the Senate Committee on Energy and Environment.
First of all, I want to say thank you to ThinkTech Hawaii and to Jay for really putting on this series. And anything that raises the awareness as far as energy here is a good thing. Appreciate you guys doing what
Thanks
you're doing.
very much.
So we need to get into the schools,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're already there to some degree, but kids need to start having that from the very beginning. One of the main problems that I see now is that you really have to get community buy-in. We should learn from our mistakes. We should give everybody a seat at the table and say, look, here's the plan. What do you think? There's a cap on the net metering program. so that on Oahu it's 1% of the total energy that's produced. Only 1% can come from this
net
intermittent
energy,
energy,
right.
right? And it's the same on Kauai. And then on the Big Island in Maui, it's 4%. By the end of this year, what I've been told is that we're going to reach that 1% cap on Oahu.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
and by the spring of 2011, we'll reach that 4% cap. I want to bring the net energy metering thing back on the table.
Okay.
And really push
Increasing
that.
the cap size
Right.
and increasing the system size.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then another thing that I want to revisit is a bill that we introduced to require developers to incorporate into design elements where they would have the minimum equipment installation to make all new single-family home dwellings photovoltaic ready by 2012. Another one besides that, it's to require all new single-family homes to be net zero energy capable by 2015. And that, of course, means that they're able to produce as much energy as they consume. I'm hopeful that our next governor, whoever that might be, will continue to push the envelope. That people are looking at Hawaii as the model to follow. And I think that's really cool.
Hawaii has a rich legacy in agriculture, but in recent years, many of those fields have gone fallow, and diversified agriculture has been limited by environmental and economic considerations. Some people think we might be able to have a resurgence, however, of agriculture in Hawaii.
ThinkTech is presenting a luncheon program on high-tech agriculture on Thursday, October 28th. It's called, Can There Be a Renaissance for Agriculture in Hawaii? We'll tell you more about it as we get closer to October 28th.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech, but first we want to thank our underwriters.
ThinkTech is underwritten by some of our favorite local individuals and companies.
The Scheidler Family Foundation. Jay Scheidler, through the Scheidler Family Foundation, is an active supporter of a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including ThinkTech Hawaii.
Hawaiian Electric Company, HECO and its affiliates Miko on Maui and Helco on the Big Island are deeply committed to supporting the communities they serve. We're very appreciative of their support.
Galen Ho. Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company which has a large footprint and commitment to the community in Hawaii. We greatly appreciate his support.
A High Technology Development Corporation. HTDC is a state agency organized in 1983 to facilitate the development of Hawaii's high-tech industry and thus to diversify our economy and provide quality jobs for our people. We appreciate HTDC's work and we're thankful for its generous support.
Okay, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. But before we go, we want to remind you that you can watch ThinkTech throughout the week on OC16.
For underwriting opportunities, check out our site, thinktechhawaii.com.
I'm Jay Fidell. Thanks for joining us on ThinkTech.
And I'm Duke Oishi. Aloha, everyone.